If you want to get here in your real estate photography business, but you're stuck somewhere between $2,000 a month or $5,000 a month, then here's some in-depth tips on how you can go about scaling your real estate photography business. In this video, there are a few different sections and topics with what I'm going to cover, and they're all going to be relevant to help you get to this goal of $10,000 a month. So be sure to watch the whole thing. But before I do that, I wanted to give a big shout out to Me, Myself, and I, which is today's sponsor. I've got 3 things for you. First is my book, The $1 Million Photographer, which is an A to Z guide on how to start, build, run, and scale your very own real estate photography business. And you can purchase that book in the description below. I also have a coaching program that's going honestly far better than I expected it to this early in my YouTube journey. So that's awesome. And if you're at all curious about what I have to offer, click the link down below to answer some quick questions. And then we'll hop on a call and I'll tell you all about it. I also have my Introduction to Real Estate Photography online course that is almost complete. And there's actually a pre-sale special going on right now, which is 50% off the total purchase price before it goes live. So you can find a link to that in the description below as well. If you don't want to buy anything, no worries at all. I have a bunch of free things just for you on my website, masterrephotographer.com, where you can also sign up for my totally free 7-day email training for some targeted tips on building your real estate photography business. Okay, on to the video. The first topic that I want to talk about is your bundles and pricing. Now, I know not every market can allow charging $250 for photos, but that doesn't mean that you're stuck doing $125 photo only shoots forever. The type of realtor that you're going after as a client is going to be absolutely crucial in opening you up to sell additional services to increase your average revenue per listing. There are a few different types of realtors, and the main ones you really want as clients are the ones who really care about their brand. I would strongly recommend not going after realtors that only do 1 or 2 listings a year, as they're not the biggest source of income for your business. The ones you really want to work with are the realtors who do this full time and care about their image and their brand. Every listing that they do, they're going to want all the services done because it reflects positively on their worth and value as a realtor, which opens them up to do more listings, get more listing clients, more homes sold, ultimately leading to bigger commission checks. Yes, of course, go after the high performing realtors. Duh. But how do we do that? Well, as with anything else, tenacity is going to be your #1 ally. Interact with these people as much as possible. Create as much content as you can on your social media so they get used to seeing your face with a camera on their feed. I feel like I say this in every single video that I make, but it takes on average a potential client 7 interactions with you or your brand or business before they ultimately buy from you. So the more interactions you can create to facilitate those interactions kind of on autopilot, the better. That's why content creation is super amazing. One client of mine who I do a lot of video work for, I harassed on Instagram over the course of a few months before she finally even responded to my messages. And then it was up to me to engage in conversation and ultimately be tenacious enough to get her to try me out. So not only did she see the content that I was creating, but she also saw all the messages I was sending to her and the comments on her post. I didn't give up and I won the client. So case in point, that's kind of what you got to do. Take this with a grain of salt, but your ultimate goal with reaching out to people should be to either interact with them so much that they either hire you or tell you to bug off and leave them alone. And even if they tell you to leave them alone, you can kick up your efforts with that same person in a few months in a different way, because chances are they will have already forgotten all about you. And that leads me to another very important point. You need to get over your fears of annoying people or potentially coming off as pushy, since generally speaking, these people will forget that you exist in probably less than a month. I'll tell you something I tell all my students as well. Nobody's going to build your business for you. Let me repeat that. Nobody is going to build your business for you. Even with me as their coach, I give them direction of where they need to go, what they need to do, but if they don't do it, then they won't see the result. What it all comes down to is if you really want to be doing more business and earning this $10,000 a month, then you have to be absolutely tenacious and ruthless in your efforts to grow the business. And if you're scared to annoy people or that people won't like you or, whatever it may be, you're going to have to get over that since, again, generally speaking, nobody's going to remember you, let alone that you annoyed them. The more people you speak to increases your chances eventually getting a yes from someone. So if you increase the volume of your efforts, then you'll also increase the amount of people that are interested in your services and ultimately end up working with you. But back to your bundles and pricing. Just because you can't charge $250 for photos doesn't mean that you're stuck doing $125 photo only shoots every single time. In every interaction you have, you need to be trying to increase your average order value, even if you're just upselling an additional $80 floor plan or something like that. But when you get these high performing realtors as your clients, you no longer have to just upsell one floor plan for $80 because They'll probably also be interested in drone photos and drone video, a virtual tour, a listing video, and then maybe a couple social media edits so you can upsell a couple of my favorite services, one being this social media vertical walkthrough video, which I'll bring on the screen so you can see what they look like. And another upsell you can do is a vertical highlight reel, which is very similar to a listing video, but much shorter. And I typically like to film it natively with the actual phone, sitting vertically. So here's an example of what that looks like here for you to take a look at. Ultimately, what dictates how much money you'll make in your business is your ability to upsell and provide those additional services once you have your initial clients, mainly being those high-performing realtors. So your market may only support you being able to sell photography for, let's say, that $125. But once you successfully learn how to upsell those additional services, you'll go from just offering photos to upselling drone photos for $200, floor plans for $125 or $80 or whatever you want to do, virtual tours for $249, listing videos for $349, plus an additional $225 for aerial video to be added into the listing video. Then maybe the client wants surrounding video of nearby locations for another $199. Maybe there's a park nearby or a shopping mall that would be really cool to introduce into the listing video. Maybe they want to be on camera for an introduction and outro so they can build their own personal brand in video format, and you can charge for that. You can charge like another $150. But wait, they need a centralized location to house all these materials for people to find them. So you sell a single listing website for something like $149. But wait, they don't want a standard URL domain name for the site. They want the website to be something like 123abcstreet.com. So you tack on another $50. Congratulations, you've gone from $125 for photography only to something more like $1,800 for a single listing, depending on what you charge for your bundles and whatever discounts may be included in that. But that's kind of the general crux of it. So create your bundles with some tact and sales psychology. If you want to watch a video on that, I have a package creation guide complete with a free package creation worksheet for you to go through and download. You can find that video somewhere above my head and also in the description below. Generally speaking though, you want to make sure that your bundles make sense. If you've ever gone to a fast food joint like Jack in the Box and wanted a number 4, you looked at the small for $8.99, let's say, and you thought to yourself, well, I'm really hungry. I think I want something bigger than a small. Then you looked at the medium for $2 more at $10.99. But then you glanced at the large and saw it was only $1 more, and then the medium at $11.99, which is ultimately the better value. So you went with that, the large. That's what's called a sales ladder, and you can implement a similar psychological trick in your bundles pricing for your real estate photography business. So your budget bundle has photos, aerial photos, a floor plan, and a vertical walkthrough for, let's say $3.99, but your next bundle has all that plus aerial video and a virtual tour for $5.99, so $200 up. Same from small to medium, which is $2 up. But then your third bundle has all that plus interior exterior listing video and a vertical highlight video, all for $6.99, only $100 more. Suddenly that third bundle is a much better value on client side, and they're more likely to spring for it since there's probably some significant cost savings getting the bundle versus getting all those services individually, if that makes sense to you. And making $10,000 a month sounds awesome, but if you haven't gotten a hold of your monthly expenses, then that $10,000 can quickly turn into $5,000 or less if you're being dumb. So paying close attention to how much you're spending every month is going to be extremely important. For instance, I am super careful with my editing costs. If I'm shooting a crappier property, then I send those photos to one of my editors that only charges 40 cents per finished image. His work isn't, incredible, but it gets the job done. I kind of have to work with it a little bit, do some additional quality assurance to, correct any mistakes, but it's good enough for 40 cents. It saves me a ton of time. If I'm shooting a nicer house though, then I send my images to Photober in Vietnam for 85 cents per finished image. But it's worth it to note that I only send my interiors to be edited by a third party. I edit all my own exteriors and aerial photos because it's literally just slapping on my preset, which you can find down below for free, and adjusting some exposure and then calling it a day. It's not something I would pay anyone any amount of money for. It's just not worth it. And I offer unlimited photos in my business, so I take a whole lot more exteriors than I do interiors, which drives down my editing cost while still providing value to my clients, because they're not only being sent 30 total photos, they're being sent more like 70 to 90 photos, because that's the groove that I've gotten into and found that it works and my clients really appreciate it. As for video editing, I've tried my hand at using third-party video editors, but the expense was too much in relation to how much I'm selling my videos for. And I have a really nice M2 Mac Mini that can handle all my editing efficiently, so I edit all my own listing videos even still. I also just really enjoy doing it. If I want the same end result for my listing videos done by someone else, I'd probably have to pay somewhere between $70 to $120 or more for someone to edit my videos in a way that I like it. And that doesn't make sense when I'm only selling a listing video for base price $349, not including aerial video. That would take my profit from the entire $349 minus my time down to more like $229 after editing expenses. So I just don't think that's worth it. With my floor plans, I sell them for $125, and that's without furniture. So my base floor plan that I'm selling for $125 costs me $0 because I'm just doing Cubicasa's free base floor plan offering. It's a no-brainer. If a client wants the furniture added to the floor plan, or they want a 3D floor plan, then that's an additional charge as well. You bet it is. All in all, you just have to be extremely cautious about the money that you're spending overall in your business, because it's really easy to spend money once you have it. And that goes doubly so for buying a bunch of new equipment. Cool it. Just calm down. You don't need an FX3. You don't need a Sony 12 to 24 millimeter f2.8 G Master lens, a DJI Mavic 3 Cine, and the latest DJI Ronin gimbal to do listing videos. You just don't. You can use your cell phone, or I picked up a ZVE1 and, a Samyang 14 millimeter f2.8 and 85 millimeter Samyang f1.4. You can get it done with a lot more affordable stuff. And on my website, I do not advertise my individual services. I don't have them listed. I don't have prices for them. They're not on there. I only advertise my bundles. Generally speaking, when someone is presented with specific options, they'll choose based on those options that are provided to them, and it's right in front of their face. If they see your lowest bundle for $349, but then they also see that they can just get photos for $125, then the average realtor, the non-high performing realtor, the person we don't really want as a client, will just go for the $125 for just photos, and that's a huge waste of time. And if you're not great at upselling, or maybe you're not even trying to upsell, then you're going to have a really, really hard time increasing your average order value. And to hit $10,000 in a month with photography pricing at only $125, you need to do 80 shoots. And that does not take into consideration editing costs or costs of delivery if you're using HD Photo Hub or Spiro or whatever this is, paying 5 credits per delivery to get paid immediately. If you're doing 80 photography shoots, you're getting every image edited by someone else, interiors and exteriors, let's say for 70 cents per finished image. Let's say you're delivering about 40 photos per shoot. Then your cost for those 80 shoots will be the result of 80 times 40 for your total images edited, multiplied by 70 cents, or a total of $2,240 in editing costs for those 80 shoots, which brings down your profit like crazy, not including gas, down to $7,760. Then gas, depending on your car, could be another $500 or so in costs. It just stacks up and stacks up. But to hit $10,000 a month with an average order value of $850, which is where mine is currently sitting, then all you need to do in that month is 12 shoots. And if you follow my advice and edit your own videos and exterior photos yourself and your drone photos, all that stuff, and only send off your interiors to be edited, let's say you send off 20 interiors per shoot, then your editing cost would be calculated like this. The result of 12 times 20 multiplied by what I paid for editing, which is 85 cents per finished image. That true editing cost for those 12 shoots is only $204. My travel cost in gas is also drastically reduced because instead of 80 shoots in the month, I'm going on 12. And where I make up for the revenue for each shoot is in adding on services like vertical walkthrough videos like I talked about before for about $159, or a vertical highlight reel for about $159 as well, a listing video for $349, photography for $199, a floor plan for $125, a virtual tour for $349, etc., etc. These bundles add up pretty quickly. And I don't know about you, but option B, how I'm currently doing it, doing a lot less volume for a lot more money, is a lot more palatable than doing higher volume for less money. But Jordan, you may be thinking, I can't have my average order value be $850. I live in Louisiana. Well, Mr. Louisiana, yes, you can. Even if what you charge isn't as high as what I can charge per service in California, you can still be crafty in the way that you create your bundles. Let's be very generous and say your pricing is as follows: $100 for photos, $50 for floor plans, $150 for virtual tours, $200 for listing videos, $80 for vertical walkthrough videos, $90 for vertical highlight videos, $100 for aerial photos, and $110 for aerial video. You could create bundled options that have photos, floor plans, aerial photos, and a vertical walkthrough video for a total of $330. Now, that's still a whole lot less than $850, but it's a whole lot more than earning only $100 for photos only. Then you can create a really valuable service bundle with all those services, which altogether would be $880, but you could sell for something like $799, which is darn close to my average order value. So even if you can't do $850 for every single shoot, if you at least did it for half, then you could do more like 20 shoots in a month, 10 of which could be $850, and the remaining deficit of $1,500 could be eaten up by, let's say, 5 photo only shoots for a total of $500, because 500 divided by 100 for each photo shoot is 5. Then 3 of your $330 bundles, you'd be $10 away from $10,000 in revenue for a single month. So don't tell me it's not possible. It is. Because here's the thing, and I know you're also probably thinking, Jordan, my clients are so cheap, there's no way I could get them to pay $850 per listing. I live in Louisiana, remember? Let me tell you something that's gonna blow your mind. You can get new clients. In my area, I don't need a metric ass ton of clients to sustain my monthly revenue sitting above $10,000. I only need 6 to 10 high-performing real estate agents as my clients, because each one of them is doing 2 to 3 listings every single month. So in March, where I ended at $15,000 in revenue for the whole month, I only worked with 10 different clients. So you don't need a ton of clients to get you to that level. I get it. It's hard to imagine that they exist. And you also might be thinking, well, if they do exist, they probably already have a photographer that they're working with. And you're probably right. Yeah, it's not easy to get them as clients. But once you do, you have to make sure that you have systems and processes in place to make sure that you never drop the ball and make them go elsewhere. Really, all you need are those 10 high-performing clients to absolutely change your life. What it comes down to, my friend, is ultimately just not giving up. There will always be times where you feel like your business is dead and that you should just get a job and give up. Do not do this. What separates the successful people from the people who just work a job for $3,500 a month is just sheer willingness to keep going and give it everything they have. If you aren't the type of person who'd be happy working a job, then don't do it. Don't give up. There will be times when you don't make as much money as you want. There will be times when you don't make as much money as you need to survive. And you might have to temporarily deliver pizzas at Domino's to match up the income. That's okay, as long as you keep your head down and you keep doing more and more to build your business. You will succeed. It's only a matter of time. But here's the most important thing to keep in mind. You actually have to put in the work. You can't just only do the Instagram method. You can't only just cold call. You can't just build a website. You can't just build out your Instagram with your photos and hope to see inquiries flooding in. You have to mix and match. If cold calling isn't working for you, that doesn't mean you should stop cold calling. It means you need to change up your script, and you also have to start going to open houses and brokerage offices to, network with someone in person. If one thing isn't working, then it's time to supplement that with another effort. Try to get in as many realtor networking events as possible. Go to as many open houses as you possibly can. There's absolutely no replacement for effort. And sure, eventually, after putting in the work on your website and learning some killer search engine optimization, you might rank #1 for 7 different keywords in your area, and a bunch of your work comes from your website, like mine does. But it takes a lot of time and effort to get your website to that point. And meanwhile, your website will be totally invisible. So you have to supplement the lack of visibility by physically expending effort in your outreach to spread the word. There's no shortcuts. You can't just buy equipment, build a website, practice a bit, and post some pictures on Instagram and expect to be making $10,000 a month. I know social media influencers are always talking about, on TikTok, about how easy it is to make $10,000 a month. And once you get there, it's really easy to sustain and make even more money than that. But getting to that initial $10,000 a month is indeed a grind. It's not easy. You just have to put in the work. There's some really clear things that I outlined in this video. And ultimately what it comes down to is just having to do more in your business. If cold calling is not working for you, supplement it with something else. Don't stop cold calling. You have to look at every single point in your business and strategically look at it and try and shift if something isn't working. So as always, you can check out my book in the description below. You can apply for coaching. I hope that information like this is, kind of opening your eyes a little bit and you're getting some value out of this. And if you have any questions at all, drop them in the comments below. I always reply to everybody who comments on my videos, and it means a lot to me when someone, puts a comment that they got a ton of value out of it. But it also means a lot when someone just, says anything. Maybe they have a question, or maybe they hate me. Comment that too. It's good for the algorithm that you're engaging with my stuff. If you want to hop on a call with me, just answer a few questions if you're interested in the coaching program, and we can jump on a call to talk about it a little bit more. And jump on that online course right now too if you're at all interested. It's an introduction to real estate photography. It's not going to go, too much past the how to get clients portion. It's going to go, how to do all the services, how to do them really well, how to get your first clients, how to build your business. And then it's going to pretty much stop there because it's meant to be a logical progression to coaching. So that's all I have to talk about in this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.